back.
We're
the
back.
First time
We're
this
back.
year.
First time this year, Monty. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and everyone else, for that matter.
Everyone else. Another episode. Get found.
Be seen.
That's right. Monty, how's it going?
It is going well, my friend. It's going well. Christmas is done. New Year's is done. And now we are off to the races.
That's right. I just keep echoing you. What's up with that? It's just fun.
I'm just full of energy and just can't help it.
Dude, you're on fire, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what no sleep gets you.
That's true.
Some people think it makes you tired. Well, it does eventually, but not at first. Not the first night. The first night, you wake up afterwards, you have a little coffee, and you're just like rip-rearing, ready to roar.
Boom, ready to go. We got a full day today.
Indeed. Lots of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff. Excited about it. Going to be going to a training in a little bit. But before that, we thought we'd show up and give some value.
Yeah, well, just wanted to be aware of what's going on.
I saw what you did right there. I saw that. I saw it. Had to take my glasses off for it, and I put it back on. I saw it. Love it, Monty.
Boom. Gonna pick up a little magic from our friend Steven.
Okay, I saw what you did right there. All right. I see that. I got to catch up, man.
Yeah, we'll get you on board.
I got to catch up with my tech.
Yeah, you got to get some of this tech, man. This is some good tech.
That's some good tech.
Really good tech.
Right, baby.
That's right. We'll give a shout out to Steven at the end, too.
Got to give a shout out.
Absolutely.
On the other side of the pond. So today, I love what you did. You shared something with me, and I thought, you thought, and therefore I'm like, yeah, I agree with it. We share it with the world.
Yeah, well, it all starts with a thought.
It all starts with a thought. I read that somewhere. I got it from a book, actually.
Okay. All right.
I got it from a book, and it's funny. I was reading it today with my wife, and hold up, wait a minute, pulling it up. Wait a minute. I know we're live, but I just want to share this real quick. The 12-week year. I believe he talks about that. Things start with a thought, then it progresses, because there's the whole concept of taking action in a short amount of time. But it starts with a thought. And I love it because it made me think about the fact that our thoughts are powerful. Our thoughts are important. And many people out there, even being a camera confidence guy, and even with business owners, people could feel that imposter syndrome and feel like their thoughts don't matter, but their thoughts are so powerful. That's it. Boom.
I'm gonna add a little whipped cream and cherry on top there.
Go for it.
It's like this starts with a thought, and then there's the action, right?
Right.
Well, somewhere between the thought and before the action, you got to become aware.
Ooh, okay.
You have lots of thoughts, but you have to be aware of which ones you want to take action on.
Right. Got to choose the right ones.
That's right. That's what I've been some of my life journey recently with. Which direction is my business going? Choosing the right thoughts. Being aware. Right. Now it's time to take action. That's why I'm so fired up. This year is going to be so great.
Ooh, today's going to be great. I'm just trying to take action today. There's a lot of action to take.
That's right.
Catch up.
Well, that's what this year starts today.
Right.
And tomorrow, it'll start today. Well, it'll be tomorrow, so it'll be today. Not tomorrow. This is yesterday's. Okay, that time thing is cool, but whatever. Every day, that's a new start. Let's just go from here. Don't worry about. Oh, I didn't get this done. Didn't get that. There's lots of stuff I'm not getting. There's lots of tech I'm not getting done.
Right. You're such a tech guy.
I just keep on going. Don't let it hold you back.
Don't let it hold you back. That's right. Don't let it hold you back. So yeah, I love it. Monty, let's break this down, this whole aware thing. So we're talking about being aware. It's funny.
having
We usually say be intentional, but we're using the word aware
awareness.
today.
Having awareness.
Having awareness.
Yeah. You were talking about what I sent you that we were going to share. I was like, oh, aware. Aware makes a really cool acronym.
Right.
It's a really cool acronym. And in the first letter out of aware is like your favorite. Authentic.
Yeah. That's a whole episode in and of itself. That's
Oh,
a book.
absolutely. That's the cool thing about this acronym is each one of these will be an episode unto itself. So keep it short. we got
Keep it short.
we got 4 more letters to go.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, being authentic, being true to yourself and your message. I love that. In a world where people say keep it real and be real and all these things, and you get caught up with even those words and not keep it real, not be authentic. Not you could keep it real according to what people what you think people expect from you, or what they do expect from you. You could go along with that, and you could end up not being authentic with your true self. I find that interesting. I've come across that a lot, this season, and it's so important for individuals, for business owners to understand and discover their authentic self. And honestly, I think it's a continual journey to be able to do that.
I agree. I've been going through that journey.
Mm.
It's not only what other people expect, but what you think you can do. Because in life, any person can do a lot of different things.
Right.
But what thing is truly authentic to them? That thing is what's going to make them happy and fulfilled. So if you can do something and it checks off some of the boxes, sometimes those are the boxes that other people have determined are the deciding factor of what is successful.
Ooh.
I'm making this much money. I have this kind of house. I'm working these kind of hours. I have this kind of prestige. I get to take this kind of vacation. There's just all these determining factors that oftentimes are dictated by other people.
Right.
And then I'm discovering I can do this, and I am doing this, and it's not fulfilling me completely. And it's not like, oh, this is a tech hole job. I don't want to be here anymore. It's this isn't giving me everything that I'm looking for. And so that ever evolving, it's like, all right, well then let's shift. Let's find that gap that I am missing and fill that in. Become fulfilled.
Right. I love that. Yeah, I think for me, things that, and it's interesting too. What I'm hearing from you is, and I think this is for me too, according to what you value, the things that are important to you.
Right.
Which is a whole other topic, because what you value, that's such a core thing for people, for a lot of us. And I think by nature it is. I think it's, how we're created, and I know for me, whatever I do, I love, my thing is I'm passionate. You can even see it in the camera. Even when I express myself, I'm passionate, but I gotta be able to give my 100%. If I don't give my 100%, I won't do it.
You're not being authentic.
I'm not being authentic, and people won't get the best of me. And here's the thing, Monty. I know that deep down in my core. And so that's why it's important to be authentic. And that's, with anything you do in your business, whether you're doing websites, whether you're trying to get visibility, whether you're trying to be confident on camera. I could even relate that to tech things I do. Sometimes on camera, I'll use a teleprompter. And sometimes I got to feel it out. It's a time for me to use it, and there's a time for me not to use it. It's all good, but me being authentic with myself, I could feel it out. I kind of think about it, the analogy of, you're on the plane when you're flying, and they have their tech to help them to keep in line. but the plane's always going off course, as they say, right?
Crosswinds and slight variations and air
Right.
pressure and yeah.
So many factors. But just that whole journey of authenticity, that's what I kind of think about it like that. You're constantly trying to find yourself in that way. And every day's different. Different situations are different. But it's good to be aware.
Aware of your authenticity. I like what you
Woo!
said there. Teleprompter, no teleprompter. It's like, so the authenticity isn't in, well, I use a teleprompter. That makes me authentic. Or I don't use a teleprompter. That makes me authentic. The
Right.
authenticity comes from, under this circumstance, I want to use this way.
Right.
Tech to everything else. Tech be everyone else. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to use a teleprompter. Everyone tells me I should.
Right.
I'll tech them.
Yeah. Either way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The authenticity comes from, I'm doing it the way that makes me feel comfortable.
Right. Right. And there's no one who could be there's no one who can be you. So only you know. But as long as you have the right tools and you know the rules, like, so even we're saying that example for teleprompter, I know the rules. Now I know the rules, I just break them. Because
you just remake them. Well, maybe you break them and then remake them, whatever.
Break them, remake them, put it back together,
put some super glue. It's someone else's rules.
Right.
It's not physics. Those are harder to break.
Ooh, that's good. That's true. It's not physics. It's true. Those are principles that
anybody.
Right. And those are principles that are light principles, but those are the things that are made to be broken. Because you got to find you in there. You ain't got to fit you in there. You got to find you in there. And then you got to pave that pathway that's going to make impact on people's lives and businesses.
Indeed.
Loving this acronym, man.
Yeah. Be authentic. Be aware of your authenticity and be authentic.
Right.
Which brings us to W.
Water. Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Hey, he's got it. He's got it. You need to drink some of that stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant get some water. Oh, yeah, my bad. Right. Sorry.
Water represents that versatility and flexibility and adaptability, all these ility things. But I kind of I think that maybe Bruce Lee, maybe he said it really, really well. When he said, you must be like water. You must be, no, I'm sorry. I didn't even read it right. You must be shapeless, formless, like water. When you pour it in a cup, it becomes the cup.
Right. Okay, I gotta catch up, man. Feeling those graphics. I love it.
Yeah. Steven's the man. Hooked me up. It's an app you can get anyway, but I never would have found it.
Right.
And then because of his knowledge, I was able to jump right in here and start using a little bit. Now there's a lot more to learn.
Right.
A lot more to do. Like when he was on, he demonstrated a whole bunch of stuff. I can't wait to learn all that stuff.
Dude.
And with his course, I'm going to be able to jump in there and figure it out fast. That's what's important to me.
Right. Let's go. Yeah. I love it. Shout out to Steven.
Shout out Stephen Lai.
No, I love that though. Being flexible, that's so important. I had a hard time, even as an entertainer, being flexible before, but I've grown into, thankfully, and my wife's happy about it, I've grown into becoming more flexible and being able to adapt, to different things that come, because different things will come our way. And the main thing is, and that's my lesson, that I've been learning the last 2 weeks, is that I'm growing into it. I'm taking the steps to grow. That's what matters. I don't have to be fixated on certain things.
It's easy to have that comfort zone. It's easy to have the habits, and you said fixated, and it's a subconscious fixation. Sometimes some people it's consciously, sometimes it's subconscious. It's this is comfortable. This is where I'm at. Growth is not necessary because these boxes are checked off, and there's enough of the boxes checked off that I'm complacent.
Right.
And that is, mediocrity is the worst enemy of success.
Right.
I've heard that said much better by a bunch of different people. That's not my original thought, but that it's so true. It rings true to me so much that because I've been there.
Right.
In fact, before I got online, when I was just doing traditional brick and mortar business, I could watch my growth. And I was moving every year to a larger location, to a better location. And my business was growing at a 7 to 10% increase each year for 4 years in a row. And then I got into a place and I was there for 3 years. And on the third year, my growth was a 1%. And so I kind of plateaued off. I stopped growing at 7 to 10% each year, and that's not dramatic growth, but that's significant growth for the first 6 years of a business just starting out.
Right.
So it's like I was tracking that, and then I noticed, and then I made a move. I moved my location again. This time I actually downsized, but still, I grew. I had a 12% growth that year. And so it's just that being out of your comfort zone. You get comfortable and you don't strive as hard. I don't want to say you don't work as hard. Because people are like,
interesting.
I go in at 6 a.m. and get home at 9. Because I did. But I was still mediocrity. I was putting in those hours for a 1% increase. For a year, I put in those hours for a 1% increase. And that's what made me think. It's good to track your stuff because you don't know where you're going to be going unless you know where you're at. I was thinking, I don't want to keep doing this. I'm working 6 or 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to maintain this level for that?
Yeah.
Ouch. I needed to be water. I needed to adapt. Water also flows for the least resistance. Now there's, you might not necessarily want to go to the least resistance completely, but you need to see where your life needs to go, I guess. That's an overlying type of concept because you could easily take that the wrong way and say, oh, it goes where it's easiest. That's the couch.
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's, you've already determined I can't stay here because water will stay in a pond. I need to flow somewhere. All right, where am I going to flow?
Right. I love that. What a great analogy, man. Whew.
Yeah, that was off the top of my head. I told
you,
I'm fired up.
Hey, I got to talk about this, because as the video guy and with camera confidence, those are some good shorts right there.
Yes, indeed. That'll be fun. Use some AI and see what happens with it.
Let's go. Let's go. Man.
So,
good quote.
To be aware, you want to be authentic and you want to be like water.
Right. You got something else up there?
You want to articulate. Articulate. A lot of people think articulate is, just you're speaking, but that's enunciation. Enunciation is about how you pronounce.
Right.
It's actually not about pronouncing because you could mispronounce something. You could enunciate mispronouncing something. But enunciating is using the words in your voice pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas articulating, you could that throws in the rest. So that's why articulating is good for video.
Right.
Because you can articulate a whole bunch of stuff.
Right. I saw what you did right there. It's funny as a performing artist, I got all these analogies from my performing world. But I see it's so important, and what blows me away is the many ways we could articulate, we could communicate with an audience, whether it's 1, whether it's 100, whether it's 500. And the way we live, it's like there's one way to do it, but there's so many ways. There's a one. I was on stage one time. I'm not sure if I ever told you this, and then a friend of mine said, "You know what? I turned my back towards the audience. I was performing with the band. I turned my back towards the audience, and he said, "You know what? Never turn your back to the audience." Of course, naturally, I just turned my back and I did something with it. but from there, I learned how to turn my back to the audience and be dramatic. And there was pauses when I did it while the band was still going, but it engaged people. They were waiting to see what I was going to do next. So it's just like it just reminded me there are so many ways to enunciate, so many different ways to communicate. But from when I thought about that, when I had that epiphany, it just gave me a big sense of wow. I was just really impacted. I was blown away because I'm just fascinated. And that's one of the things that got me inspired more about communication as well. Like there's not one way to do it. I have to do it this way or that's it. I'm no good. I'm nothing. No, everyone has a unique way of doing it. Back to the authenticity. I know we're talking about articulate, but that just fascinates me, Monty.
Well, that's the next step. It's like, being authentic. Well, you need to articulate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You articulate your authenticity.
Uh-huh.
That all ties together.
Articulate.
You need to be authentic by being flexible and adaptable and articulate that so that you can be aware. I don't know. It's all
dude.
good.
That's all you did. You did, dude. That's
good.
A.W.A.R.E.
We'll make up our own acronym.
Make our own acronym. Absolutely. Hey, that's what we do with the arts, and the hip hop culture. It's cool. We make it cool.
See, I kind of think that articulate incorporates, maybe this is just me and my truths and my definition. But there's the ambiance, the aura, the tone, the gist, the angle. All those things are describing sort of the same thing, but they all kind of, because of their own nature of their words, they're all kind of their own angle, nuance, tone, just all those things. Right. And that's part of that. I'm articulating something, and your unique combination of those things in the moment. Because again, it's not like any classification thing, disc communication or any other thing. It's like, I'm one of these. I use when I articulate like this. Well, you may have a default where you generally do, where when you're most comfortable, that's the way you would like to do it.
Right.
But situationally, you're aware and you know that you need to do it differently. So you may have different combinations of those things. But that's but ultimately underlying, there's your uniqueness and your authenticity.
Right.
And that's what you'll be articulating by using all these different tools.
Right. No, exactly. 100%. I agree with that. And you're finding yourself as a constant journey. It's like one of the lessons I learned too, just this weekend and the last 2 weeks, is we're learning. Sometimes we expect to learn and then do something. But we're learning as we're going. You got to be in motion to learn. That's how you get that experience. You get that wisdom.
Thought, action, fail, learn, inspires new thought.
Right.
So it's that you might learn something because sometimes you can learn from other people.
Right.
Although that's from their action, so it still takes an action for it to learn.
Right.
Because of their action, you now learn.
Right.
But then the amplification of that process is if you can take that what you've learned and give it some thought and put some action into it.
Right.
Discover the failure so that you can learn from it.
Right. And get that wisdom.
Absolutely.
Get that wisdom. I tell you, that's That's good stuff, man. So important. But that's been a big lesson for me. So for me, getting that lesson, I've been able to take more action just in general with my business, with my personal life, but also producing the curiosity about it. Say, let me just take these steps, scatter those seeds, so to speak. Take the steps and learn and get as much information as I can. Be aware.
Be
Of the
aware.
information I'm getting.
I like it. You're articulating your journey very well.
Oh, thank you, Monty. I'm trying to be aware. It's all coming back full circle.
You're being authentic.
I appreciate that.
And as we go through this, we're being like water. We're just moving because we didn't. I mean, how much out of this acronym? How much of it did you have pre-planned before we started on this live?
Not even 5%.
Right. You just pulled it up right before, and then we had tech problems.
Thank you, Apple.
Get a chance to look at it. Just be like water. Be authentic.
Right.
Be articulate.
That's right. That's right, Monty.
Boom.
Boom. Ooh, that's the next one, huh?
That's the next one.
Relatable.
I'm the apprentice hand pointer. My master, the professional hand pointer, Stephen, is teaching me things. Relatable. Got to be relatable. What is the thing we didn't actually read to? It says, or we didn't get to. We didn't get to read because of tech problems. It says to connect with your audience on a personal level, you need to be relatable. Share personal stories. Hey, we've been doing that. And experiences. Hey, we've been doing that too. That your viewers can relate to. Well, I don't know if they can. Maybe they can relate to it. I guess we've been telling stories though. This will not only keep them engaged, but also make your message more memorable. At the same time, it's important to stay relevant to the topic at hand. Well, that's what these things are for, to keep us on track, because we've already kind of gone off on a couple cool little tangents, and we could have kept going if we didn't have something like this. Thank you, Stephen. At the same time, it's important to stay relevant to the topic at hand. Avoid going off on tangents or getting lost in unnecessary details. Keep your presentation focused and on topic to ensure that your audience gets the information they need and stays engaged throughout. Hashtag be relatable.
Be relatable. Be relatable.
And I guess part of the relatable isn't just the topic.
Right.
That's part of that authenticity and articulation. That's that. Hey, I'm resonating with this person. I'm getting good vibes.
Right.
I feel value from this. Whether that value is strictly entertainment. Some people, I mean, how many people in the show business do you know that their message is entertaining? There's no moral of the story going on. Just, I got views, which made me money.
Look
and all
at
I had to do
Seinfeld.
was speed up my voice and act goofy and put it on TikTok.
Yeah. And look at Seinfeld.
A show about nothing.
Still hilarious. Still timeless.
Still being replayed.
Right? Yep. That's true. That's true.
So is basically because of the internet. Every show ever created is still being replayed. But Seinfeld's still being replayed on some mainstream stuff.
That's right. Yeah, we watch that still. My wife and I, we still watch that later at night sometimes.
It's relatable.
It's relatable.
There's real life stuff. It's about nothing, and yet it's about everything.
Right.
And of course, I'm not being a little profound. If you don't already recognize, I'm just quoting Jerry Seinfeld. Seinfeld. It's not Field. It's Feld. Seinfeld. But anyway, I'm just quoting him because I think he's pretty cool. I like driving in cars, comedians in cars with coffee or something like that. I like that show. That's
a cool show. I caught some of it. And it's interesting. It just all that reminds me too, Monty, of and what I love about it. What I love about it is that it reminds me of just the human condition, the emotions that we have, the things that we express. Seinfeld's kind of exaggerated, but it's just basic human conditions. and we're able to relate to people. And these are things that, even as a camera confidence coach, I realize there are things that we take for granted, but they're so crucial to the person's growth, whether they're trying to learn and develop, skills on camera, or just even their presentation, or even their presence online. These are basic things that are so important. So to be able to hone in on the basic things are super important, as far as, and so it reminds me of being relatable. That's what I thought about.
Yep. And as you started that out, I was thinking about, hey, we just went down to Jerry Seinfeld, and isn't that kind of going off on a track? But yet it was describing, so it was part of the stories. It's part of the experience.
Right.
That ties it all back together. And right now it may seem like we're not talking about how being relatable is being aware and how that affects your business, but we're demonstrating it. We're doing it right now. We're being relatable. There are some people that are like, man, I remember Jerry Seinfeld. That was a cool show. These guys are spot on. And there's other people that already turned us off.
Right.
Cool. That's called pre-qualifications.
Boom. They're going to get the reels anyway.
We'll catch the reels. We'll get all the highlights.
Get the highlights.
That's right.
Get the highlights.
Yeah.
But it's so important, though. It's so important for human condition, and it can be used. And it's like you mentioned, it's what we're talking about right now, telling the stories and breaking down the acronym and seeing how it relates to us as individuals and also relates to our audience.
And that really, so I can back that up into the brick and mortar business. And when I used to do service writing for auto repair center, and I used to do troubleshooting and diagnostics, you have to explain to people about cars and what's going on. And some of them, just how much is it, and fix it for me. And other people are like, well, what do you mean my brakes are bad? Okay, well, now I need to explain this to somebody who has no concept of how they even work. So I had to find something that was relatable. I had to find some anecdote, some similarity, something else that I could explain to them so they could understand the concept, so that way they would be able to transfer that understanding of concept over to their brakes, so I could fulfill their question, not just give them some answer.
Right.
Relatability is not just you, it's about your topic and how does it relate, and is it relatable to what you're teaching, what you're speaking about, what you're doing. Because if we're talking about a presentation versus a course, versus a masterclass versus a meeting, company meeting, or a one-on-one Zoom, or a PTA meeting. Yeah.
Right. That's true. You need to be able, and also we also need to be aware of that.
Indeed.
In your awareness, in your awareness, you're able to be intentional about it. And so there, you can even ask yourself specific questions. How can I be relatable to this situation? And you're really good at that, Monty. You're really good at painting great analogies and making it really practical. I'm more pie in the sky. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, that comes from, like I was explaining, I worked at the mechanics shop I was there 12 years, and 9 of them I was in the office dealing with the customers face to face. And I did outside sales for office supplies before that, and I've done other face to face. I need to explain this to people. So, and my computer repair. 8 years of computer repair and IT support and doing websites, and people, well, how come this? And so then it's like, okay, well, it's like explaining how an airplane flies to someone who's never seen an airplane before. The context just isn't, it's not relatable.
Yeah.
So you have to go through some steps to figure out, and a story, as with many, many, many things, is a great way of doing that.
Right. That's true. I love how you told that story.
That story explains it all.
That explains it all.
And brings up 7 more questions. That's the law of everything.
Yes, indeed.
So be relatable. And like I said, I like how all these tie together, because I wanted to say aware. I'm jumping ahead trying to put words together. They all tie together.
Right.
Being aware.
Right.
You want to be aware of your relatability, your personal relatability, your topic's relatability, and your audience's receiving relatability.
Right. That's very true.
Be relatable.
And if we're talking about being visual too, presenting, where even if you're on camera, you gotta read the room still. Even though you're on a camera, you gotta be able to read the room. And by that, you could do it different ways. You could make sure you understand your target audience, as we like to say, your avatar. Some like to say avatar. We like to say that, or target audience, your people, the people that you are connecting with, being aware of them. Because you can't see them through the camera unless you're on Zoom.
Right. It's nice to have that live, feedback where you can be like water.
Ooh, yeah.
But when you're doing a pre-recorded thing for someone or for a group or whatever, then you have to do it a different angle and find that relatability beforehand.
Right. And that whole human condition concept applies to that as well. Really taking the time to care enough to understand them, to study them out. Like, that's how we got to be, Monty. And that's how, for our audience, that's how you need to be. I think about my family. I got to understand what, like having 5 kids, I got to understand what each and every single kid loves and their pain points and their dreams, what they're passionate about. That way I can relate. If not, there's a disconnect. Same thing with business. I got to be that engaged. They're not my kids.
Right.
But it's a relationship. So I need to be able to connect in that way and use my imagination. It takes being like water.
Indeed. Well, it's the old school business approach of appealing to everybody because your market was much more limited.
Right.
Now we have this ability to reach so many more people that we can be much more picky.
Right.
And so therefore, here we are in a teacher's sense of from a teacher's angle. In old school, it was, hey, this is what I'm teaching. This is what you could get out of it if you tried. I'll get as many people in the classroom as I can, and there you go. Well, that, as over the years, over the decades, has been proven only works so well. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying it only works so well.
Right.
When you take it to the next level and you say, hey, I have intentionally targeted these types of people. So the people coming into my classroom are more likely to get what I'm trying to teach. And since I know that they want that, I can predetermine, well, what's their problems? What's their obstacles? What can I do to be better so that they get more out of it? Rather than just saying, here it is, get what you want, get what you can.
Right. You have to be aware, you have to be intentional, and you have to care to invest, because I don't need to speak more on that, but if you don't, I'll just say this, if you don't care, if you don't bring that care into it, it's only going to go so far. And you're selling yourself short too. So therefore you're wasting everyone's time.
If you can find something to care about, that's your authenticity.
Oh, that's good.
And that makes you relatable.
Right. That's not what you did right there.
I mean, that was not pre-thought. None of that stuff was like, oh, I'm going to say this. It's like, hey, what we just discussed made me think that.
Right. Right. That's so true. But that's a great tool, or some people might say hack. That's a great tool for people to set them up for success. Because some people may be asking, hey, how do I do that? How do I set myself up to care, to invest in that way in my customer or my client or my potential client? Find something to care about within your target audience sphere, for lack of better words, something that you could connect with, genuinely connect with, authentically connect with. It's good.
And then you will be relatable.
Then you'll be relatable.
Awesome.
Flow like water.
So we're getting towards the end. We got one more letter.
One more.
Engaging.
I like that one.
Engaging. You need to be aware of your engagement level.
Woo!
Your level of engagement. And that comes back to also knowing your audience.
Right.
And knowing where you're at. Because at a wedding, at a business conference, or at a wake,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be aware that your engagement is going to be different in all of those situations.
Right.
You can't just be, I'm authentic. This is me. Take me or leave it.
Yeah. This is who I am.
Don't take me wrong. There's the time and place for that.
There is.
But you need to be aware of that time and place. So in this circumstance, when we were talking about that example, that's not the way to be.
Right. Right. With an exchange, my perspective is with the exchange of a relationship, there's a level there. And there's a point where it's like, yeah, I gave you everything. This is who I am. I was authentic with myself. Now, flip side, I won't say but, I'll say and when you're connected with someone, taking that extra step to find out about them and find out their pains, their desires, their dreams, endearing yourself to that person. There's a balance to strike with it. And that's also authentic as well. But I love that word engage, Monty. I love that word. When that hits, when that's the most challenging for me? When I'm feeling burnt out, I'm feeling exhausted, or it's like you're navigating through the day, family life, work life, and you're doing all that you got to do. And it's like, sometimes it's easy to not be aware of it. And then it's like a switch you got to turn on. Okay, how's my engagement level? I love how you said that. How's my engagement level? I could ask that question and be aware and come back and take a look at myself. Not in a fake way, but in an authentic way. That's the perfect phrase you gave. Engagement level.
That relates to social media and responding to other people in social media. And that's what I was thinking about when you were describing that, and the engagement level, and how when late at night and I look and I got a bunch of people got some questions or something, and it's like, oh, my brain power is not there. I just feel like giving a short answer, or maybe just leaving it until tomorrow, or which actually could be a good decision in some circumstances.
Right.
It's like sometimes like I don't have the energy level to do this right now. I need to wait until tomorrow.
Right.
But there's also the aspect of maybe that's an indicator. I'm having problems keeping my engagement level up. Well, maybe you don't care enough about the topic. Maybe you haven't gotten that relatability part down yet.
Yeah.
And so therefore engaging is difficult. It's a tax. It's something I have to do. If you truly cared about your avatar and what solution you're providing for what problem that they have to cure the pain that they have, then the engagement level is easier to keep up because the relatability is there.
Yeah. That's good. No, and I hear you on that. I find it's such a balance to strike because it's just different at different times.
Absolutely. Be like water.
We got to be like water.
And you have to be aware of all these things.
So much.
This really tied together way better than I ever imagined. Thank you,
dude. This is right. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Jim Edwards and the
Yeah.
whole team.
Well, I got to get my affiliate link together for that.
Woo! Let's go. You know, and it's cool. You know, it amazes me. It inspires me to think about that. You know, because one word I think about too is pacing myself. So being aware, and the topic of being aware, you got to be able to pace yourself. You know, it's funny when I was younger, I didn't have to pace myself per se, but I wasn't aware. Now I'm more seasoned. I say seasoned. I won't say old. I love getting older, by the way. But now I'm older. You know, I could be more aware, but I have to pace myself. That is such a key thing. But if I'm aware and I'm pacing myself, I can get more as we talked about too, as we're going through our journey, we're learning as we go, right? We take in knowledge, we take in information, but the wisdom come as you're taking action and you're getting that experience. So as we do that, you were able to pace ourselves as we go. And then we're able to think about the next before we take the next step, we can think about, okay, how should I pace myself? You know, it's a constant juggle. But that's the thing that amazes me about human condition. Like out of everything I do, Monty, and this is on subject, out of everything I do, what I love the most is human condition because we amaze me. Did I say that right? We do. We amaze me. You know, so much potential and so many things to learn in this journey of life. You know, and that includes in the business world. You know, pacing ourselves and learning about ourselves. It's a powerful thing.
Pacing ourselves. I'm going to take that and say, all right, we're gonna roll forward because we got an event coming up here. It's top
Yes,
of the
we
hour.
do. Woo!
We're getting there, so we're gonna let's move on here. Let's just keep it super simple.
Super simple.
Like how that's just.
I thought you were gonna say something else there.
That's right. All right. Be authentic. Just be yourself. That's the easiest way to do it. You don't have to remember anything. You don't have to pre-plan nearly as much because it's just you. Just be yourself.
Right. The
W. Be like water.
Be like water. Yes.
Flow with the moment. Not be like water, make the business decisions.
Right.
But be adaptable. Well, kind of. Be adaptable. But flow with the moment. Or take your water.
Take your water.
Be articulate. And I like you've said this a lot. And again, this was not pre-planned. Mindfulness in your speech. And as you were saying, mindfulness in a lot of things in your business and in your life. And then be relatable. Those personal stories and experiences. Those are definitely the way to be authentic. Being relatable and authentic is almost at the same time.
Right.
And be engaging. And I'm going to take the old saying from elsewhere and move it right into here. Just talk to a friend. Talk to a friend and you're speaking to an audience.
Right. I love that. Endearing yourself.
Aware. Be aware. Authentic.
Be aware.
Be water. Be articulate. Be relatable. Be engaging. And I want to give a shout out to Steven. See, I'm the apprentice hand pointer. We're gonna get better at it. We're gonna take his courses. And you can contact Steven at youareavideostar.com. Get an appointment with Steven. Find out if what we're doing here could help you amplify your business in your content creation. Because and if nothing else, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of
tons of fun.
I love it. Boom.
Nice.
Next week, I'll have figured out, hopefully, watching some of his stuff. I'll have that figured out, like what he did. We'll come onto one screen. I'll have you over to my place.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Sweet.
Love it. Now, that was good stuff. I love that acronym, Monty. That was good. We got to hold on to this. That's
Absolutely,
good.
because no, I absolutely all those words are going to be other presentations at some point.
Right.
You know, as we evolve, we didn't actually specifically tie that to videos and websites, but as I will divulge in the future, I'm shifting some. So the get found, be seen will be a little bit different, but Carl's on I'm just going to be lining up with Carl more. That's all we're going to be doing. I'm going to be yeah, we're still doing this thing. I'm just changing topics a little bit.
And you did talk about video, even shouting Steven out, that's
Right.
it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
important what he does. He just that's a way to keep people engaged.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if that wasn't engaging, at least more engaging than what I had before, I mean, I can improve it a lot.
Oh, I
again,
know you will.
I
I know
just
you're gonna be
started.
working on that.
Stephen
Me
has lots
too.
to teach me. He has lots to teach me. So
Love it.
awesome. Well, let's call it a wrap, buddy.
That sounds good. Another episode of Get Found
And be seen.
We'll talk to you soon. Monty, we got somewhere to go.
Yes, sir.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.